All right, we are alive. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another session of the God Podcast. You guys already know my name is Will. As you guys can see, we have a full panel of Pacifica Islander men and women. You guys already know it's Hot Topic Wednesdays. We got a hot topic tonight, especially for all the Christians out there. Get your popcorn ready. Let's get it.
What are we arguing about?
A man is gonna do what a man wants to do.
Yes, all on your wrist. Make you my wife, you no longer my bitch.
Let's get it. My name is Will. I'm the host of this show, the number one Polynesian podcast in the world.
Dripping in Versace. All these other hoes trying to copy.
Women tend to bounce around in relationships. They can't stick and stay in a long-term relationship.
Again, don't agree with this. Just
So let's say, are you still in it? Are you still in it?
no. So you're basically saying I'm a whore.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
So I just wanted to take the time and make this video to apologize to absolutely nobody. What's up, everybody? All right, welcome to another session of the God Podcast. You guys already know my name is Will. I'm the host of this live show, number one Polynesian podcast in the world. Let's get it all. We have a great show for you guys tonight. As you guys can see, we have a full panel of Pacifica Islander men and women. We got a hot topic, controversial, taboo topic to discuss tonight. If you're tuning in for the very first time, like always, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show prepared for you guys. And of course, to all my subscribers out there, people that subscribe to my channel, thank you so much for all the love and support. You guys already know what to do. If you love the content, smash and press that like, subscribe button real quick. Don't forget, this is a live stream. Always appreciate you guys always popping off on the live chat. Whether you agree or disagree, always like to hear your feedback. We're definitely going to have a very controversial topic tonight, especially when it comes to religion and Christianity, when it comes to our Pacifica Islander community. So I definitely will want to know what you guys think, whether you agree or disagree. So let's get that live chat popping. Show some love on the live chat. I see MC Carol already on the live chat. 626 said, hello, everyone. Hey, what's up, MC Carol? And I see the Palofesa. I see Palofesa. Always good to see you, Palofesa. I know you're definitely going to be joining in pretty soon. I'm excited to hear Ulise's take. Love the Toko Kamea podcast when he was around. Hey, shout out to you. Thank you so much. And I see Phoenix Suns on the live chat. Can feel the energy coming off Savage camera already. Let's get it. You already know Savage has been waiting for this moment his entire life. All right. And I see Kiliona Baloni. First time I see you in the live chat. Aloha. Good to see you. And thank you for being on the live chat. And I see TJ on the live chat. I don't know what that is, but regardless, TJ, thank you for being on the live chat. Appreciate you guys. Always appreciate you guys on the live chat giving support. So let's get the live chat popping. Let me know what you guys think. Show some love to the panel and show some love on the podcast on the live chat. Don't forget, this is a public show. Always appreciate you guys. I know a lot of you guys do reach out to me, ask me how do I get on the podcast, especially for this topic. I know a lot of people reach out and ask me how to get on this because they want to jump on this discussion. I'm going to post the public link on the YouTube live chat. So if you're watching from Facebook and Twitch, you have to come to YouTube. I'll pin it to the live chat on top of the live chat. Click on that link, and you'll definitely be able to jump on and be part of the podcast. Whether you agree or disagree, I know that a lot of people do agree. A lot of people have opposing views. A lot of people get triggered by my content.
How dare you?
Even if you disagree, I invite you to come on, even with an opposing view, and let's have an open conversation. The super chat donations, I appreciate you guys always supporting financially with your pockets. If you have a specific question or topic you guys want us to discuss, ask it through a super chat donation. Every donation goes back and being reinvested back to my podcast. Always give you guys the best quality content. And of course, to launch my podcast studio going into 2023. It's pretty much coming soon. So appreciate you guys always supporting me with your podcast. Thank you so much for love and support. But if you have a specific question or topic, ask it through a super chat, and we'll definitely be able to reciprocate your support and respond to you live from the panel. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all my YouTube stuff. I definitely want to dive in and go deep on this rabbit hole that we're going to go into tonight. And of course, to all the Christians watching this tonight, to all the Christians, believe in what you believe in. I must respect everybody's religion and what you believe in, but watch at your own risk for tonight. I just got to give you guys a warning. I got to give you guys a warning. Watch at your own risk. Whatever happens tonight and whatever happened on this discussion, it is what it is, but just have to let all the Christians know. All right. But nevertheless, let me pass it to the panel. Thank you so much. Shout out to the panel real quick. And of course, everybody in the live chat, thank you so much for watching. Shout out to you guys as well. But let's get these introductions real quick for everybody out there watching for the first time. Let me start with my newest guest, Ulise. Thank you for jumping on and being, I know it's your first time here on the podcast. If you go ahead and give yourself a quick introduction to everybody out there watching this for the first time. Go ahead, Ulise.
Malo, Pito. Sio Toova, aloha mai kako. To everyone, very excited to be a part of this opportunity to talanoa, to talk story about a very important topic. If you do see there's an extra guest come on with me, it's because I'm with my kids as well. That's how we live, man. We got to babysit and work and be on podcasts all at the same time. But yes, thank you, Will, for the invite as well, Malo. And I'm excited to speak and talk story with everybody else on here. Malo Bito. Oh, coming into you all from Laie Maloo out here on the island of Oahu. Malo.
All right. Well, listen, always a welcome. Always a pleasure. Thank you for jumping on. Appreciate you, like always. Let me pass it to the fellas real quick, and we'll come back to the ladies. J Prime, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro. Everybody out there.
All right. Can you guys hear me good enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. My name's Joe. I go by J Prime, given to me by the likes of the comment section in the chat. And other than that, I run a full-time design and marketing agency based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm happy to be here as usual.
All right, no worries, J Prime. Always a pleasure. Always good to have you on. Let me pass it to Savage. Savage, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everybody who may not know who you are. Go ahead, Savage.
My name is Savage Island, and I represent the ancestors who have been forgotten. I hold the ancestral knowledge that is bestowed upon me by those who've come before me, and I'm here to speak truly as much as I can. I just give a clear disclaimer. I don't hold any doctrine. I am not a professor of any sort. I don't have a PhD, nor do I have a master's or any doctrine of sorts. So if you are triggered by anything I give in dialogue, if you find offense in anything I say, by all means, I mean or give no intention of doing so. But, if you want to have proper dialogue after, please hit me up after on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you can find me. But I'm just here to show and elaborate my passion. That's it. And other than that, thank you guys for having me.
All right, Savage, as always, thank you so much. And excited to have you on for tonight's topic to join. Let me pass it to the ladies. Let me start with you, Irene. Irene, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro. Go ahead, Irene.
Hi, I'm Undaground Rhodes. I work in the behavioral health field. I'm an advocate for children, and I'm out in the desert.
All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Irene. And also, I'll give a shout out to Ulise and Irene to represent the Christians on this panel. So you guys have a great task for tonight to represent the Christians on this discussion. So thank you so much, Irene. Let me pass it to you, Rose. Rose, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Talofa, my name is Rose. I'm based in Las Vegas, and I'm excited to have this discussion. You can find me on Instagram at Hungry Samoans. So yeah, let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Rose, as always, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on tonight's podcast. And of course, last but not least, Tui, King Tui. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everybody out there.
Aloha, alofa, kia ora, everybody. I'm Tui Sina, and I'm not going to say that I represent anywhere just in case I make myself look stupid again tonight. But we're coming from you from Waianae, Hawaii. Welcome.
All right. No worries. Thank you so much for the panel. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for the great introductions. We'll definitely have a great discussion tonight. And let me read some quick live comments real quick. I see Jay Hill on the live chat for the first time. Hey, what's up, Jay Hill? Hey, everyone. Looking forward to the content today. Hey, thank you so much, Jay Hill. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I see Piati Barabas. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Savage, where is your warrior face? All right, he's gonna bring it out soon. Just be ready. Be ready. Piatti, thank you so much for being on the live stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys always on here watching, and of course, thank you. If you love the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will post the public link pretty soon, so that way I know a lot of you guys want to jump on. You guys click on that link and definitely jump on and be part of the podcast real quick. So let's definitely go into it. You guys already know the topic we're going to discuss tonight. What is the purpose of Christianity? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us or conquer us? So let me play this quick video real quick. It's a video I saw that kind of went viral on TikTok, and the guy that's part of the content creator that's going to be on this video. I think he may be joining us tonight, so it's going to be interesting to have him on the discussion as well. So let me play the video real quick. If everybody out there, if you as you reacted to the video, let me know what you guys think. But it was interesting to hear his thoughts about Christianity and and the purpose of it when it came to our Pacific Islander community. And I see Kiliona on the live chat has said, "That's me." Oh, okay, that's you. That's you in the video. Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna post a public link pretty soon, and you can definitely jump on. But let me play the video real quick, and you can watch yourself. I guess watch yourself, and let me know what everybody think when they play the video. Let's play the video real quick.
We've heard that one before. Yeah, we've heard that one before. See, to me, what I just heard is in 2022, some Christian youth literally said the exact same bullcrap colonialist mindset that people said for the last 200-300 years across the world as they colonized indigenous spaces. You are no different than any of those before. See, what you don't understand is in the name of your little white savior came the cost of incredible amounts of knowledge and wisdom lost. Like, there's literally hundreds of tribes across the Americas that can no longer speak their indigenous languages because of Christianity. Hundreds of thousands of them wiped out in the name of your God. Across the Pacific, we've lost insane amounts of information and knowledge because of your God.
All right. Nevertheless, that's pretty much the video I saw. And Kiliona Baloni, I just posted the public link on the YouTube live chat. So if you want to jump on, click on that link, and definitely I can add you on tonight's panel and be part of the discussion. And I see Haya on the live chat said, make sure to pray before discussing. All right, no worries. We definitely need all of it. But nevertheless, let's go right into it. Thank you so much. You know what? Let's open up the conversation. Let me start with you, Ulise. I know you're here for the first time. What's your thoughts? Let's open up the conversation. What's your general thoughts on the topic we're discussing tonight? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us? Was it to save our people? I know a lot of people know that we're cannibals, and that's what we're known in the past. So a lot of people, there's this narrative that said that they came over to save us. But was it to conquer us? But so go ahead, Ulise. What do you think? Open it up for us.
Malo, Pito. Will, to everyone here, and Malo to Kiliona for that video. Let me first let me ground this thing first by saying, yes, Will, you had talked about Irene and I Undaground being the Christians on the panel today. But I love this video. I've shared this video multiple times. I am from the Big Island of Hawaii. I am a Kanaka Maoli. I live my culture, speak my language, and the things that Kiliona was talking about there on the video. I personally think those who see it for the first time, especially our Christian brothers and sisters, it's out of context because they don't understand the colonial Christian history of Hawaii, right? Everything Brada said in that video, as a Christian, Popo, Peseteo, I support. Because I am Kanaka and I know our history. We have to not automatically paint with broad strokes because, unfortunately, the role of Christianity, the role it played in the Pacific, was highly different in all of our different islands. What happened in Tonga, what happened in Hawaii, drastically different. And so I look at this, when I look at that video, I'm looking at it as a Hawaiian first. I've been on that mountain. I've protested on that mountain. Those who don't know, I was a part of that group that went, the Tongan delegation of 200 of us that went to support the Kia'i. I was there. And then at the same time, I went as a part of our Tongan delegation. So I can understand as well as a Tongan Christian. So I think about one of the underlying things that we have to first talk about, or not first talk about, but that's going through my mind, is this idea of what is Christianity, right? And how is it defined amongst the different, different islands? What is the history of Christianity in the different islands? The denominational differences is a big part of that history. Hawaii, in our history, and I know everybody else got to talk. I'm so sorry. I'm already starting to rant. Real fast. Hawaii got the short end of the stick, baby. We got the boring ass Calvinists who were like, no birthday, no Christmas, no nothing. You can make a little argument in some other indigenous areas where Catholics went. They were horrible, but for the most part, you see a lot of Catholicism also taking in indigenous practices. Was not like that here in Hawaii. Hell no. And then at the same time, the last thing I would say is I hope we do also bring up a little bit of indigenous agency. A lot of the Christian zeal that was displayed here in Hawaii was also perpetrated by Kanaka Hawaiians, very important Hawaiians. But was it religious? Was it Christian? Was it their God? Nah. It's very political, at least to my understanding. So, yeah, mahalo to you. Sorry, I think the name of Kiliona for that awesome video. That's my take on it. Just throwing it out there first. Mahalo.
All right, no worries. Ulise, thank you so much for the take. And of course, there's a panel real quick. I know we got a big panel tonight for the sake of time. Let's just make sure we're very concise on our answers within the 5 minutes, just to make sure everybody has enough time to continue the dialogue and conversation. So thank you so much, Ulise. Savage, I'm gonna pass it right to you. Do your thing, Togo. What's your thoughts on the conversation? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us as a people, or was it to conquer us? Go ahead, Savage.
There's two perspectives to that. One is going to be the foreigner, and then two is going to be where I grew up. Growing up as a Tongan, it was to save us from our savage ways. We knew no better. We were very classless. We were uncivilized. We were not knowledgeable people in the history books, right? And so in accounting that, that's what I grew up learning. We were very bad people, very sinful, very dark, very dirty. And as sad as that is, that's how I learned growing up. Now, giving up that where I've been, I'm 34 years old now, and learning about the doctrine of discovery, 1493. Colonization happens in three waves, right? Of course, politics, industry, and then religion. Religion being the last to comfort and convert the indigenous people. Now, if you understand what the doctrine of discovery is, it was basically okayed or given, given okay by the Catholic Church, which is now the Vatican today, where any land uninhabited, regardless if there was indigenous people or not, now belong to the Church of God and in His name. And as sad as that is, when they came to the Pacific, coincidentally after the Crusades, if the Christians didn't win the War of the Crusades, we would have all been Muslims, right? Now, that's historical. Anybody can learn that. You can go to your nearest courses in his history, and they'll teach you that anyways. But what I'm bringing up is this one perspective that religion was brought on in our belief that it was being a bridge to connect two cultures by the Tu'i at the time. He wasn't a king yet because we didn't bring in the monarchy system. We did not originate that. We adopted that by, of course, the English settlers. Now, when we did adopt the monarchy system, religion played a very good role in I wouldn't even say genocide, but in the washing of anybody who didn't want to accept Christ. So, of course, the Tu'i of Tonga at the time, who is now king, sends out the order. Anyone who will not convert can either leave the island or be unalived where they stand. And as sad as that history is not accounted, but it exists. And that's kind of where I want to come from tonight. Is that perspective on history? Is that the flag that we bear today, in a time before flags, our color was not red. The purity, the blood of Christ, and all that is the symbolism of our very colonization. We were not colonized by war, we were colonized by our spirituality. Hence why we've forgotten about Tangaloa, Ahoetu, right? Or even any of the older gods that you remember, Hikuleo. All that's missing now. And that part of history, why it's gone, is because of the rewriting or the whitewashing by guys like, of course, Tokiuka Mea and everybody else who's written about us, but none of us actually writing for ourselves. History for us, by us. So when we learn about us, it's not actually by us. But that's just a little bit to start off with. So the answer to the question is, religion in the Tongans' eyes was to save us. Religion by the foreigner was to keep us docile and indoctrinated.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Savage. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, everybody's watching this right now. I know we're gonna have a lot of good takes and a great discussion tonight. So let me know what you guys think. We have a great panel tonight. We have a lot of people all around the world jumping on for this discussion. So let me know as you guys hearing the information. Definitely let me know what you guys think, especially the Christians that's watching this right now. I would love to hear what you say, whether you agree or disagree, or if you want to be part of the podcast, click on that link and jump on. All right. Thank you so much. Let me pass it to you, Rose. Rose, what's your thoughts on this on the conversation? Open it up. What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us or conquer us? Go ahead, Rose.
So I'm gonna have to agree with a lot with what Savage said as far as Christianity. Their intent was not to save us; it was to control us, to indoctrinate us, so that they could control us. But in our eyes, it was, oh, we're being saved. So it was just a lot of brainwashing. Just going to speak from my experience, how this plays. So I grew up in East LA, nothing but Mexicans there. Didn't know anything about my culture. My mom spoke Samoan at home, but outside of the home, I never met any other Polynesians. Didn't know anything really about Samoan culture. Grew up, so I'm Afakasi, so half Samoan, half Hungarian. But because I grew up in East LA, I was just around Mexican culture. So I honestly thought I was Mexican growing up. Then we moved to Utah and we went to church for the first time. I was 10 years old. That is when I was indoctrinated into Christianity, but I also was indoctrinated into my culture. I learned Samoan culture through the church, and that's the only way I learned it. Anything about Samoans was through Christianity. So it was a different take. I didn't really understand our ancient teachings, beliefs, any of that until I grew up into my 30s and started to study it on my own and really learn, well, what our teachings really are. Everything that was lost, it's really hard to find. And since I've been able to learn on my own, it's really brought me closer to my ancestral roots, brought me closer to who I am, having a better understanding of our people. And the reason that I didn't learn this earlier, like in my 20s, is because I had such a distaste for our culture in being Christian, because there was so much hate, being that I'm Afakasi, that I just didn't want anything to do with Polynesians. I had so much resentment towards our culture. But learning who we truly are and where we truly come from and our true beliefs and our ancestral knowledge has brought me closer to it. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of brainwashing that happened. And I feel like in these modern times we're starting to understand, we're starting to really understand and grasp who we really are and where we really come from as a people, which is not from this so-called Christian belief system of Christ and Godhood and whatnot, because we come from so much more than that. We're so much more powerful than we know. And once we can tap into our power, I feel like there's just so much that we can do once we realize our power. So yeah.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rose. Let me pass it to you, Tui. Tui, what's your thoughts, Tui? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific?
Well, okay. So the introduction of Christianity to the South Pacific, I mean, it started as a part of an inherently racist colonialist effort, but I mean, I don't by any means think it's that way now. I mean, we do have, I'm sure there are, right? But for the most part, I don't think, Christians, you know, Anglo-Saxon Christians are here to destroy our culture. I do think that they're in search of culture, and that's why they kind of impose on our culture, or find bits and pieces of our culture that they find beautiful and extort it. Um, I'm trying not to sound all over the place like I was last week, because I rewatched myself and I was like, man, I sound like a jackass. But
Just let
I
loose,
don't.
Tui. Let loose.
I know. Um, I have a hard time with. I don't have a hard time with Christianity. I understand it. I think what I don't understand is that a lot of people don't believe that you can live in culture and be a Christian at the same time. And from my perspective, I mean, love a brother. I love your videos, BT Dubs. Follow you. Um, but I do think that they're like, I'm just going to use the word Anglo-Saxon, okay, guys? Because what people keep saying, what people keep coming at me with, I don't know if anyone's had this problem, but they keep calling me like racist and sexist. But we all know that I totally am not. So there is a problem with Anglo-Saxons not giving credit where credit is due culturally. And in the South Pacific, it really, like, even amongst Polynesia, we tend to forget that we were not Christians first. Christianity is a Western concept. And although I think it's great, and we do need something, everyone needs something to believe in, because I believe that people need something to guide them. They need values and morals. And whatever that may be for anyone, there needs to be a guideline to follow. So, I mean,
All right.
yeah, that's all I have.
All right. No worries, Tui. Thank you so much, Tui. Thank you for sharing. Let me pass it to Irene. Irene, what's your thoughts on the topic? I know you're a Christian. What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us as a people, or was it to conquer us? Go ahead, Irene.
For me, when I think of Tonga, and when I think of the king embracing Christianity, I think it allowed more freedom from the monarchy. Does that make sense? Prior to Christianity, we were more barbaric. And so it was survival of the fittest, but there were ruling houses. So from what I know about my history, my great-grandfather was against it. My great-great-grandfather was the one who was charged in Tonga for killing Shirley Baker. That's the story that has been passed down in our family. And in that time, during that time, the crime was they were going to be killed due to having multiple wives. I think Christianity removed that. Shirley Baker is a pastor that came to Tonga that who got involved in politics. If you don't know who he is, yes, thank you, Ulise. He was part. He got involved in politics, and I think that's probably why my great grandfather and them didn't agree with his involvement in politics. So so there was a bit of division in the family, but eventually it changed. But for me, I think it allowed the Tongan people to be free, in a sense, because under the monarchy rule, it's different. I don't, I can't, I know of the stories then, and how we performed our duties. Um, in those days, the only people that served in the monarchy were family. So you didn't have any outsiders serving. You also know that the marriage that still happens today is within the bloodlines. It's very rare that we marry outside, and part of that is to make sure the bloodlines are strong, but maintain the cultural protocols and customs and traditions, and the stories that are shared are not diluted or taken out of context. And some are shared and some are not, and some is specifically kept within the family. And I'm not sure if you understand that, but some of us were raised not to be very, let's say, conservative about certain things, and how we discuss things, because we still have to respect who we are in our role to the monarchy. So my take, I think it's allowed us to be freedom. It gives us morals. I think we need a moral compass to some extent. But that's just my take.
All right, no worries. Irene, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Let me pass it on to our public guests. Let me start with the person that was on the video. Kalanite, thank you so much for accepting the invite. I know I'll reach out to you if you want to jump on. And yeah, thank you for coming on, and also provide some context for everybody out there, especially all the Christians out there. So go ahead. What's your thoughts on the topic for tonight? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us as a people, or was it to conquer us? And go ahead, Kalanite.
Aloha kakeaka, or aloha ahi ahi kako. O Kiliona ko ino, noho waianai mai au. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. So my name is Kiliona, or Kalanite. Kiliona is my Hawaiian name. Kalanite is my Tongan name. I'm Tongan, Hawaiian, and Maori. And yes, I created that video. I realized later that I probably shouldn't have said white savior, white God, because it brought a lot of context that I didn't initially want it to bring as a racial, but more as a form of colonial construct to conquer and divide. So a little bit about me. I was raised in the diaspora in Salt Lake City, Utah. I was raised Mormon. My family migrated over from Tonga and Hawaii and became LDS. But I went to Catholic school, so it really messed my mind up. But through my undergrad of Pacific Island Studies and my master's in Indigenous education, I had a lot of opportunity and time to start thinking about indigeneity and Christianity and religion in general in that context. And for me, the way I view it is obviously some missionaries had an idea of spreading their religion, and it came from a genuine place. But regardless of genuine hearts and pono thoughts, it brought a lot of baggage, and that baggage came in a lot of colonial constructs. Because we converted to their ways, we became a capitalistic people, and we lost the mindset of Malama Aina, caring for our land. And because of that, we stopped protecting our native places and our indigenous places from a place of love and from a place of, sorry, my daughter, a place of understanding that we are the children of this land and these lands and the ocean, and it is our obligation to care for it. Another thing that I wrote down a list, and I'll try to rush through it so I don't waste y'all's time. As a loss of culture, when Christianity was introduced, a lot of our identity was taken with it. And Tongans can argue all they want, but the reality is our people tattooed, and a lot of our people denounced that we tattooed. And that's one of the main things in Tonga that was lost, was tattoo. And my family has Mo'olelo as descendants of Taufa'ahau, that he went and got his cultural tattoo in Samoa and brought it back. And my family says that never happened, despite it being in a family story. But then he ended tattooing, and they try to deny that this was even possible, but then they still tell the Mo'olelo. So it's like this awkward contradiction as a Tongan to have the kakao or the moko or whatever you want to call it, across Oceania, and be a Pacific Islander and wear this when it's a controversial thing to be a Christian and to be marked. So it's things like that. We lost our culturals of tattoos, certain dance, certain lore, certain aspects of land tenure. Through Christianity was a theft of land, as they continuously took, as you see in Hawaii and Aotearoa. It made us complicit, and through complicitness, they took, and that started the whole racial issues as they converted us. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but they were too scared to go beyond certain limits. And so they sent the Tahitians out to get the Niueans, and then the Niueans out to get the Tongans, and then the Tongans and the Samoans out to convert the Solomon Islanders and the Vanuatu Islanders, and so on and so forth. And they didn't do it. They sent us to do it, and that created racial issues. And that's literally, once we were Oceanians before. We were one nation of Oceania. We weren't divided. We were united through the ocean. And once they brought this colonial construct and this mindset to us, did we start looking at the Melanesians as a lesser people based off their complexion. And that is something that lives through today. We are still very racist to our darker brothers of the Oceania and the world, and that never started until Christianity came. Another thing I wanted to bring up was Christianity has destroyed a lot of our origin stories and a lot of our creation stories and our cosmology. And a really good example of that, again, is the LDS Church saying that we came from Haggoth and sailed from the Americas, which we mostly know is not true in many many ways, be it linguistic, be it food, be it migration stories, you name it. The evidence doesn't add up. It's the same with Thor Heyerdahl. We did not come from the Americas. We came from either where we are in the Pacific, where we existed, or if you want to go with the scientific DNA, probably somewhere like Taiwan, as Austronesians migrating through the Pacific. And, it's things like that. My very own family denounces our existence in Tonga and our migration. And they say that we just drifted on accident from Haggoth, from the Americas. And to me, that's a belittlement. That tells us that we're not educated enough to navigate the stars. That tells us that we're stupid. And I'm not going to believe that. Our people were navigators. Our people were brilliant. The same story I told earlier, where my Taufa'ahau kakao in Samoa, they got lost on their journey back. And on the journey back, a blind navigator stuck his hand in the water and based it off of the temperature to get home. He knew where he was based off the temperature of the water. That's Ike that we don't even have anymore. And so, when I talk about issues of colonialism and Christianity and what they took, that's the kind of route I usually try to take, because I'm an educator. That's what I do for a living. And I try to get my kids to understand that, yes, you can be Christian, but you also got to kind of understand and navigate what it is to be cultural and indigenous and Christian at the same time. And by all means, do it if you can. I couldn't. I was never able to make those parallels. But if you can, good on you. Also, before I get off, Ulise, I think I know you from a podcast too, my man. The Tongan Lore podcast. I listened the hell out of that podcast. Mahalo for that. That is killer. All right. Mahalo for having me on.
Kalanite, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for dropping a lot of knowledge on there, a lot of gems on there, everybody. I know the live chat is definitely going to appreciate that information. So soak it all in. Everybody that's watching this right on the live chat, soak it all in. And let me know what you guys think on the live chat. Whether you agree or disagree, we definitely would love to hear feedback. Let's get that live chat popping. Let's participate. I see 19 people watching this live stream right now. Let's not be ninja watchers. All right. So let's get that chat popping. Let me know what you guys think and participate. All right. Let me pass it back to you, Palofesa. Palofesa, what's your thoughts? Thank you for jumping on as always. What's your thoughts on this topic? What was the purpose of Christianity in the Pacific? Was it to save us as a people? Or was it to conquer us? Go ahead, Palofesa.
Yes, you're fine, Malo today. This is quite an interesting topic. So just to provide some context to my background. So I was granted the name Palofesa ni Lua Samson Lafaere Tutuila by a man named Samson Lafaere. I come from a long line of ancestry that drives all the way back to Tuitonga, Paulaho. And then we came down through the lineage of Malupo, and then we found which we can track at the moment, Whadawhihi Whaevalu. So, Tauwhaahau, the first Tauwhaahau who has defeated Laufuritonga, which is Whadawhihi Laufuritonga, is my ancestor, and the last Tuitonga to ever succeed that lineage. So, Tauwhaahau, who has converted Tonga into Christianity, is a bit of a, I guess, rivalry to my ancestry. Now, when I look at Christianity, I will only keep it within the Tongan history, as far as my knowledge, because that's where I'm somewhat versed in. Wouldn't say well versed. I think the Europeans were tacticians in the sense that if we look at their ancestries, they weren't people who could probably match the whole of the Pacific physical and physicality. So how would you mass convert pretty much a working pipeline of people within the moana? You convert their god, which is what Tauwhaahau did in Tonga. Now, the question is that Christianity came to save or conquer. I think they did both. Under the pretext of our Lord Jesus Christ, in order to save the savages of the moana, they must conquer us first. And in the sense of me going back to try and study Tauwhaahau, there's a level of admiration that I give Xiaoshu to Uluwaki in the sense of I would like to hope that my ancestors, as strategic as they were, converted based on a strategy to preserve Tonga as it is. And to a certain degree, people may agree. I'd like to think of that. And as much as people would like to say, we're savages and whatnot, I think if I go back in history to the Tuitonga lineage, it is far more deeper of a, I guess, lineage and ancestry in Tonga. So to put it simply in how I understand Christianity, I think if I was a white man who couldn't match the ferocity of the people of the moana, what would I do in terms of conquering him? Convert his god rather than fighting him head on. Because I think if that was to transpire, I don't think the Europeans would have succeeded in terms of conversion over the moana. So it came to save under the pretext of Christianity, but in order to do that, I guess the strategy was to conquer us. So I'd be in no qualms in terms of how that history transpired, but to answer the question, Will, that's how I see it. Be interesting to go deeper into what your question's gonna bring out.
All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Palofesa, as always. And and of course, we're going to open up for open discussion. Let me read some comments real quick. We'll definitely come back to the main panel. I know we all got a chance to share. If you guys agree or disagree on certain things, I would love to have that open up for the debate for all of you guys. So let me read some comments real quick. Appreciate you guys on the live chat. I see Jay Hill on the live chat. She said on the live chat, without Christianity, was there no moral compass for Pacific Islanders? Note, I am not poly, but curious about the collective culture and perspectives. I definitely will bring up that question later on the podcast. I see Beati Parabras on the live chat. She said, I feel polis were more civilized before Christianity. All right, no worries. I see KDK on the podcast here for the first time. I think if you're here for the first time, thank you so much. She said Tongans were dirty, filthy animals before Christianity. Damn, why are you coming for us, man? Damn, we're just having a conversation. Damn, you're coming for my ancestors. All right, no worries. But hey, nevertheless, Keep it popping in the live chat. I see Yazi in the live chat. She said on the live chat, divide and conquer, exactly what they did. Yeah, there's a lot of history, a lot of evidence of that. I see the Phoenix Suns on the live chat. Shout out to my Mormon brothers. That's practice soaking. All right, soaking. All right. If you guys don't know what soaking is, somebody in the live chat explain that to everybody for the non-Mormons out there. I think a lot of people here don't know what soaking is. So Phoenix Suns, explain that for everybody. I see Z007. Always good to see you in the live chat. And Christianity is a problem for everything. Good logic. And if a lot of the members on this panel who's Mormon, I see you guys laughing when it comes to soaking. So I think you guys know what that is, or may have practiced that. I see Infinite Lives on the live chat. Said on the live chat, said I'm so used to Christianity smashing my heathenism out. I don't mind being spanked anymore. All right, Infinite Lives, no worries. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody on the live chat. Let's get that live chat popping. I'll definitely read some more comments later on. I appreciate you guys. And of course, don't forget, this is a public podcast. So if you guys want to jump on, be part of the conversation, click on that link and definitely jump on. We'd love to hear from different perspectives. So let's open it up real quick to the main panel. Let's open up the conversation real quick. Do you guys agree on certain things? Do you guys want to add on certain things? Or do you guys want to disagree or push back on certain things that was said from the panel tonight? Let me open up for you guys. So let's open it up real quick. Anybody want to add on? Just go ahead and start it off. Anybody want to add on to anything or push back on anything? Go ahead.
I will.
Someone's going to have to explain soaking. What is that?
No.
It's when you put it in and you don't move.
Oh, yeah, well.
You soak the shit out of it. You don't move at all. You'll stay pure. You can still get your temp. You can still get your temper recommend.
Man.
Is that for real? Are you for real?
That's a real thing up here in Utah. Yeah, that's a real ass thing here. Yeah, that's a real ass Mormon ass thing.
I'm so happy I'm so happy you answered my question. The more you know.
This is how you know Tui's really from Hola.
Hey, that's how you know Tui.
I'm not from Hola. I'm from
Tui. That's how you keep it pure. That's how you still do it, but keep it pure. You know what I'm saying?
If I can,
Go ahead,
I think what's interesting from everybody's conversation, Malo, Pito, Kalanite, Palofesa, everybody else, Rose, Tui, and J Prime, Malo, for all your thoughts. Suck Savage left, man. I wanted to hear some more what he had to say, but I think one thing that everybody can agree to is that, again, our history is very different, right? Hawaii's experience with Christianity highly contrasting with Tonga's history with Christianity, and the same in Samoa, right? Fiji, literally, and I think Kalanite brought it up, right? Fiji's introduction to Christianity was through Tongans, not through Pahalangi, right? Most of quote unquote Melanesia was introduced through Tongan missionaries. Tongan introduction to Christianity was through whites, but a lot of conversion through Tahitian missionaries, right? Literally, our term Pulelulu, it's a Tahitian term. Our days of the weeks come from Christianity in Tahiti. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up, that if we notice that. So it's very difficult then to just say what did Christianity do over the Pacific. Depends on what you're talking about, right? And I'm very appreciative that we have Palofesa and Irene and stuff here. It's a lot of background context you folks have to have about Tongan history to understand that, at least from my understanding of our history as well, Christianity as a religion, as a system, as a part of colonialism can arguably be said to have been used as a tool by Tongans, right, to conquer each other. Palofesa and Irene and Undaground, they literally come from what we call Kauhalauta. They come from the Tui Tonga lines, who are traditionally in Tonga Catholic, because they didn't want to side with Tupou the First, who were Methodists, right? It was a tool, sorry, Palofesa, right? They're Maufanga, Mu'a, Plapaha. These are bastions of Catholicism in Tonga, just to spite Tupou. However, we also see, again, we're talking about, the loss of a lot of culture and knowledge. Shucks, there's so much I want to say, but for me, it depends. For the most part, a lot of the Mu'a and Lapa families, even the royal family of Tonga today, since the days of Tupou, those understandings of rankings were not based on politics completely. It was also based on genealogy. Even after Tupou had conquered Tonga, he was still highly respected towards Laufilitonga, because it is Laufilitonga and the family of the Palofesa and them who were the direct descendants of Tangaloa, not Tupou and them. They were an offshoot branch, younger brother branch. Literally to this day, the highest title in the land of Tonga is in the king, but the second highest is on an older brother line from the line of Tangaloa, the Tuipelehake, right? What the reason I set up this context is because I'm very highly hesitant to always put that Christianity was, and the missionaries were doing this and this. Yes. However, if you understand the identity of who Taufa'aha was, this man was a warrior chief. He was not going to let some skinny white boy European come in and tell him what to do. We call him the father of Tonga, a lay minister and preacher, but he was also a murderer. He was a conqueror. This man literally bashed the brains in of the priestess of Hikuleo while she was drinking her kava when he wanted to make a point. And you're going to tell me that Shirley Baker and Molitoni and all these old Tongan Palangi missionaries is going to tell him how to run his government? I don't think so. Kalanite had a great point of him getting his tatatao in Manono in Samoa. I highly doubt that it was a religious thing, that he had banned tattooing. And you can talk to Su'a Suluape Aisea Tuitu'u. It seems to be more political because he had it himself. And Tongans were still going to Samoa to get tatatao without punishment. They could come home. They just couldn't do it in Tonga. He just, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I like to speak. I'm with you, Kalanite. Our ancestors were powerful. These white boys ain't gonna, whatever, Anglo-Saxon, Palagi Pakeha. Yes, were they influential? Highly. But I also like to see that many of our Kanaka, Tong, and Samoan were smart as well. And we're like, you know what? I could use this to my advantage. Is it going to wipe out a lot of our culture? Probably, but I'll do the best I can to save. Because if you look, if anybody's familiar at all, I know I'm out over time. Last thing, if anybody's familiar at all with traditional Tongan funerals, up to this day, it is heathenistic to the T. The way the body points when we go and hang out at the cemetery, when we bury them in the sand at the beach, when we tie their legs together when they're buried, when all of that has to do with Pulotu and Hikuleo. And that comes from my lessons from a Tongan minister of the Christian church. And to this day, they still do it. All of those practices all reach back, even when the fahu, at the end of a Tongan funeral, comes to cleanse the home that the body was in with a sprig of the uhi tree and salt water. It is to send the spirits back to Pulotu so we can be peaceful. It's amazing what we don't understand. Tongans love to say, we're so Christian. I say, are you sure? your funeral is very not Christian. But that's my whole thing, right? We adopted, we took it, and we made it Tongan. Go to Samoa. Samoans literally put their chiefs into their churches. Tongans have literally put the kava ceremony as a part of their kava, as a part of their Christianity. We took Christianity and we changed it, for good and for bad. I'm sorry, I'm over time.
I want to talk what the Ulise is speaking of. My admiration for Taufa'aha is in the line of my assumption that I guess as Taufa'aha sort of saw the rolling tide of technology and advancement, if the British have found the Moana and have managed to navigate that far, there will be an influx of influence later on. So how do you show the might of your people? you convert your people voluntarily through your own might. And I would like to think that in the Tongan history of Tauwhaahau, his action towards Laufuri Tonga and the rest of Tonga was to say, look here, white man, I'm going to convert my people, but I will do it our way. And our way is the how way, which is the thought of, if you look at the Tuitonga, it wasn't so much genealogy, it was Taui. The Tuitonga is not so much, you are my son, therefore you have the title. The Tuitonga was, whoever the how was at the time, you have some lineage back to Tangaloa, therefore you're going to challenge whoever the Tuitonga was at the time. Here's the other beautiful thing that we share with Ha'amoa is that the story of Aho'eitu and the Wharewa is what's been told to me by Pakilau o Aotearoa, which is a matapure of the Maafu line, who shared with me the reason why the Tuitonga and even Tauwhaahau paid homage back to Ha'amoa was it is believed that Tangaloa resided in Ha'amoa. And Ha'amoa was called Langi for us in our mythologies. And it was to go back and pay homage to the Wharewa who hold the title that Tangaloa bestowed on Aho'eitu's four brothers in order to look after the lineage of Aho'eitu from then on. It's even a beautiful it's a beautiful history around Kawa too. And Kawa is a very unique one, which to this day is still confused that Kawa is the daughter of Whiwhawa and Whiwanga. As I understand it, Tuitātoi is the true father of Kawa Onua. The reason why Kawa Onua was named Kawa Onua because her grandmother was Nua. Nua and Momo is the parents of Tuitātoi. So the history of our people is very beautiful. Now, when we question civilization, in the context of the Europeans, yes, you can confuse that our people weren't civilized. But if you look at our culture and our history, the dynasties and the way that our systems and protocols were set up, we were more, I guess, complex as a culture altogether in the ways that we practice fealty, the way that we practice camaraderie, the way we respect honor and integrity. It was a lot more robust and different. Now, I have no qualm for Christianity, but I think in the influence that it did, it somewhat took part of what all the Pacific know as, or what the Moana knows as mana, and filter it very differently. Now, the reason why I'm so proud of my ancestry is not just because I'm Tongan, but because of the Moana and its history. But I'm proud of the way that our people have fought the tide of change in order to survive. So, what do you say, man? And this is why I was so excited to hear your take. Like Kalanite, the Toki Uka Mea podcast was a very influential podcast when it was introduced.
All right, thank you so much, Palofesa. Anybody want to add on? Rose, J Prime, Kalanite, Tui, or Irene?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the matter that he said about the concept of civilized and such, as a lot of us think of that with Western concepts, but we fail to remember just how civilized a lot of our people were. For instance, the Hawaiians with their aquaponics technology and the fact that they were able to sustain over 1 million people off of what they grew and what they could catch in the ocean. The fact that they knew the moon cycles enough to plant and harvest at certain times and when to let up on their fishing so that we could replenish the ocean and the reef, all the way down to the design of the fish hooks to catch certain types of animals, when to go out and feed fish in the morning so that we knew they would come back. The idea of our lopoita, our fish ponds, as nobody had a fish pond of that form of technology in Oceania. Like, that is beyond modern and in today's standards. All the way down to the methods of passing on mo'olelo and such for our people, how we pass it through movement and through song. That's just an ingenious way to continue this lineage. The fact that a lot of us in this space can do our genealogy 50, 60, 70 generations without written word is astounding. And with that comes knowledge, and with that comes a sense of civilized being. And so civilized is just really a colonial concept that's meant to hold us back as indigenous people, saying that our methods and our methodology and our concepts are not equal to that of modern and that of the West, when I believe that that whole concept is misconstrued and it's literally just created to belittle us. That's just my 2 cents on the matter.
All right, no worries, Kalanite. Appreciate it. Rose, J Prime, Irene, if you guys want to add on to it, and Tui, go ahead.
I'll say something real quick. So, I guess I'm confused as to what the definition of civilized is. I guess according to Google, it means advanced stage of social and cultural development. We were very well civilized, if that's the definition, because culturally and socially, back in the day, and even now, that was never an issue. I think if you're looking at technology, that's something else. But if you really just look at what's going on now, I feel like we're less civilized than we were back then because we're less in touch with who we are. We're not as authentic as we used to be. So I would say we're a lot less civilized now than we were back in the day.
Interesting. All right, no worries. Rose, go ahead, Irene.
So in those days, I don't think women would appreciate that the royal house can come and take any girl they want to. So in those days, the kings and the chiefly men, you would probably hide your daughter compared to today. So there's a lot that people don't talk about when you say civilized. Yes, we had structure. There was protocol. There was, everything functioned because everyone had their place and their duties. But there's some things that are very, very, let's just say, not even the movies can describe what happened in history, including the mariners, what's his name? The book that was written by William Mariner.
Yeah.
By Finau Ulukalala. That's my other ancestor on my other side of my family. So when our family shared that story of what he did, I beg your pardon?
Just a quick correction. As I understand it, Mariner didn't actually write his own book. It was Waifikau
he didn't.
Who was his doctor. It's a little pet peeve.
Right.
Sorry. Carry on.
No, so the story that was passed down to us was he was powerful in his way. He was very smart. He strategically went out to the ships before they even tried to dock in Tonga. I mean, that's how I tell you, I mean, it was survival, but they did a lot of wonderful things to also protect us. But as far as like what is civil, there were things like that they were, because you're chiefly or powerful, they can take any woman they want. So I'm grateful that we have Christianity to some extent because we are free.
Can I piggyback off of that a little bit? Malo,
Yeah,
Irene. No, I was just thinking exactly. I think that was I commented to Irene in the chat, right? I think that was a big part of Tupou's understanding, right? And a lot of Polynesian islands, their understanding was there were certain things that needed to be written down and legalized and made as general laws for everybody, right? Back in the days, whatever was the chiefs wanted, that's what the chiefs got, right? And then again, right? See, there's always the pros and cons. In an interview a few years ago that Tupou the fifth, right, the fifth king of Tonga had done with an Australian journalist, he had talked about the difference, however, with especially, and I'm going to put this for all Polynesian chiefly peoples, is our idea of monarchy and chiefs is very different than the Palangi idea. Whereas in the monarchies in Europe, these were men who were above, they were not connected to. In our islands, the high chiefs and talking chiefs and lower chiefs were relatives. Even today in Tonga, right, there's a saying, all roads lead back to the palace. to Bo, we are all related to the king. So I think that's a big part of what I think Bo did was, and what many of our Pacific leaders did was see that, you know what, there needs to be similar to what Kamehameha had done with the law of the splintered paddle. There needed to be some general things that were quote unquote Palangi style and put in a constitution, in a law, to protect everyone and certain rights. Because if not, you're right, you could just come over and take what you wanted if you wanted, right? Ulukalala was infamous for that. Sorry, just a little jab at him.
All right, no worries, Ulise. Joe, did you want to add on anything before we move on?
Nah, as of right now, I'm chilling. I'm just listening. I like your guys' perspectives. For those that don't know, my Aina is originally from the Lua Warriors. So we were disbanded when the missionaries came to the Hawaiian Islands back in the early 1800s. So my family served as the King's Royal Guards previous to Christianity being introduced into the Hawaiian culture. So as of right now, I'm chilling. Everybody, I just like listening to what everybody has to say so far. There's nothing that I disagree with totally out of the ordinary. As of right now, I have nothing to say, though.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much, Jay Prime. Shout out to you guys, and thank you so much. We had a great conversation. But let me read some comments real quick. Thank you so much, everybody, on the live comments. Let's get that live chat popping. Appreciate you guys always sharing whether you agree or disagree. All right, so let's go right into it. I see Phoenix Sun said, Jesus will whip Tangaloa, and man whip Jesus before man is stronger than Jesus. Okay, all right. I see Esso Hopeful on the live chat said, we so Christian. Esso Hopeful, always a pleasure to see you on the live chat. And appreciate everybody here that's watching this right now, who whether you're a Pacific Islander, that's non-Pacific Islander, that's not Christian, just here to join the conversation. Thank you guys for being on here tonight. See Beati Palabras on the live chat. Said cultured and civilized are two different things. Exactly. Thank you so much. All right. I see Jay Hill on the live chat. Said that is astounding. All right. No worries. Thank you so much for watching, Jay Hill. I see KDK responding to what Undaground Rhodes said. Hide your kids and your wife. All right. Talking about the Tuitongas. All right. No worries. And I see Z007 on the live chat. Said, what's authentic and how does that look like today? Many assumptions of how things were back in the days from a modern perspective. All right, no worries. Z007 and Z007, that public link does work. You know, if you want to jump on to see you have a strong opinion, join the conversation. Z007. And I see Yazi on the live chat said, we like to keep it in the family. All right, Yazi, no worries. Appreciate you. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody on the live chat. Let's get that live chat popping. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to you guys. Always participating big time on the live chat. I appreciate you guys. I give you guys a special shout out. All right. Shout out to the guests as well. Thank you so much for jumping on. But I do want to continue. I want to ask this question for you guys real quick. I know there's a lot of talk, and I know Kalanita has brought this up, that primary role of Christianity was to hold us back as specific islanders, right? I think Kalanita brought up example, colorism. Colorism didn't exist until Christianity. Obviously, we all on this panel, we definitely had a podcast a long time ago. We talked about does racism exist in the Pacific Islander community. Some of you guys were part of that podcast, and it does exist. I've heard it straight from the words of my family members that kids who are whiter are more beautiful than kids who are darker. That's something that you hear all the time in Pacific Islander. I think Kalanita brought up the tatataos, the tattoos. Of course, a lot of knowledge was left out. Was no longer taught no more. So that's holding us back as a people. So I want to talk about that. The things, in your opinion, do you guys? What are the things today that we see that's still holding us back? That's was introduced from Christianity that we as a people today in today's generation we got to work on, improve, and kind of unlearn those things. And for me personally, one of the biggest things I've seen, I know I shared it in my video, and then I don't call it that you responded to it. I never understood why when we see Pacific Islanders striving for success, to be more ambitious, to be intelligent, to do things to progress in this modern society, why do we always label those Pacific Islanders as like Fia Balangi, you want to be white? And I hear this all the time with our people. When we see somebody within our community trying to strive to be better try to strive and to elevate themselves in modern society, we always associate them to, oh, you want to be like white people. And why can't we just see them as a Pacific Islanders, just trying to do better for themselves? Why can't we just call him, hey, he's just an intelligent brother. He's just an educated brother. He's just a guy that has a degree or very successful. But whenever we associate success to Pacific Islanders in today in modern society, why do we all you want to stand out? When I'm like, what does it have to do with anything with white people? White people are not the only people, or Anglo-Saxons, like Tui said, they're not the only people that were successful in history. And but I think for me personally, I think that probably originated back from Christianity and telling that, hey, white people are more superior than white people. But I don't know. I want to open up the conversation. Are there things today that you see today that was probably introduced from Christianity that we as a people have a certain mindset or certain behaviors or certain practice that we still do today that originated from Christianity that is kind of holding us back today? And if you want to bring that up real quick and things that we can do to kind of change that and improve on that as a people so we can move forward and be better in the next generation. So let me open up that conversation real quick. Let me start with you, Rose. What are your thoughts? Are there anything that you think today that we practice today that's kind of holding us back that you think that's kind of originated from Christianity from the past that we kind of need to be aware of as a people and probably need to improve and change? What do you think, Rose?
I'm gonna need a minute to think about that, but I will say that I will comment on as far as when Polly's, I guess, say Fia Palangi. I feel like it's just coming from people who have insecurities. So, because I've noticed that, because I'm half Hungarian, I've always had that hate from full Polynesians. But I never had it from Palangis. Palangis always looked at me as they always looked up to me. I feel like they look up to Polynesians. It's very weird, like going to school, being Poly, you were like the popular kid, right? But with Polynesians, it was just like we hate on each other. I never got hate in my entire life from any other culture besides my own. And I don't know if it stems from Christianity. I don't know where it stemmed from, except that I feel like it's just insecurities, right? You're always going to project your insecurities onto others. So maybe in my head, a full Polynesian or a full Samoan would hate on me because they felt like I felt that they were superior because I was half. That's just how I felt. Like, oh, they think because I'm smaller, I'm skinnier, I was always hated on because I'm not as strong, not as tall, not as big, because I'm more light-skinned. I don't know. I'm asking. I guess I'd like to know. What do you think about that? Like, why do polys hate on each other so much? I mean, that's a good question to ask. Why do we hate on each other so much, especially on Afagasis?
All right, no worries, Rose. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Yeah, and everybody, if you experience that, let me know what you guys think on the live chat. All right, let me pass it to you, Savage. Savage, thank you for jumping back on. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Savage? Are there any things that we practice today that it kind of holds us back, a certain mentality or mindset? I know I shared some examples that you think that originated from Christianity that we probably need to unlearn in today's generation. Go ahead, Savage. What do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is it too loud?
No, you're good. Perfect.
Okay. Good. One thing I would like for us to, drop or, leave alone or no longer practice, and this applies to PIs, Pacific Islanders, not Polynesians, not Micronesians, not Melanesians, the people of, the Moana, the original people, us. Stop with the colorism. Stop it, right? Because before there was racism, it was hate. I don't, it's easy to say that anything can be racist if you grow up in America. But honestly, what we're saying is we are hateful. I'm hateful of you. You are hateful of me. You're from the north. I'm from the south. You're from the east. I'm from the west. Your ancestors stole a pig from my farm, so on and so forth. Color had nothing to do with it. so the ideology of colorism, right? Because religion highlights the purity of one's innocence in the lighter their skin tone. This ideology needs to be let go. It has to be that one. How colorism has separated us as a people highlights the darker the skin, the more inferior the person, the lighter the skin and fairer the complexion, the more holier than thou they are, right? And to me, that has been the most Jesus Christ. Shut the hell up. To me, it doesn't matter if you're light or if you're dark. All that really matters is what do you know that can benefit this situation? Do you have a solution? Because if you have a solution, then maybe we can get past this rut. And that's what we're lacking in is solutions. We are lacking in solutions. The one thing I will say that I'm grateful for post-colonialism, that I'm grateful the foreigners did bring to us was research and studies. Because although we've understood discernment, right, knowing right from wrong, understanding fact from fiction, is that to source our research and studies. Because it's one thing if Will Nkuzi tells me that, did you know Joe Promasio? He's dumb. Like, oh, okay, well, how do you know that? Well, I'm just saying because a lot of people are saying he's dumb. I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then I go and tell Joe, hey, Joe, are you dumb? He's like, where the fuck did you hear that from? I got a degree, dumbass. Oh, well, Will said it. And what does Will have? Oh, I think he dropped out of college. Well, sourcing information is so important today because it's important where the information comes from rather than who's giving it. You know what I'm saying? Misinformation is killing us. For instance, with this topic of religion, people don't even understand. There have been books added and removed since 325 AD in the Council of Nicaea, from the book of Enoch to more books being added on and translated over and over to the book of Revelations, the most youngest book out of all the Bibles. Now, that's a conversation we can have otherwise, but I am grateful for that part of history, them bringing us research and studies.
All right. Savage, thank you so much. And damn, Savage, why you gotta share our personal conversations with Joe? All right, damn it.
I'll admit, I'm pretty stupid for somebody who has degrees.
Nevertheless, thank you so much, Savage. Let me pass it to you, Irene. Irene, what are your thoughts on it real quick? And for the sake of the time, let's just be more concise and on the time. That's all. Let the panel know, so that way we can continue on the conversation. I'll start with you, Irene. Irene, anything that you see today that you think that kind of holds us back as a people, whether it's a mentality, culture, practices that you kind of think that kind of came with Christianity? I want to open up that conversation. What do you think, Irene?
In relation to colorism, I think it's just their perspective and their understanding and what they take and what they interpret it to be when they take Christianity on. But I get what Rose, I can relate to Rose, being interacting in both my father's side and my mother's sides, because they're both, one's Fijian Chinese, the other's Tongan, right? I've experienced racism because I've never spent a lot of times in the island, but I grew up in Laie in the North Shore. So for me, it was different. And then when I went back to Fiji, I experienced that with the Fijian kids. And then I experienced that with the Tongan kids. But it didn't bother me because I know who my ancestors were intimately. I know my roots. I know their stories and my connections enough to not let the tone of my skin, affect me. But it did. And I just thought it all boils down to, just someone just being plain ignorant sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with just meeting people and accepting them, embracing them as they come to you. And, there's just some things that they did, like, who are you? Especially in Tongan functions, when you go to some of those functions and you stand out because you're the darkest person in that function, the first thing they ask, who are you? And I find that very rude. Does that make sense? And I'm looking at, like, who are you to ask me? But yeah, so I totally agree that we can just do away with all those petty little things that don't even matter. I think what matters is the character and the people that we're meeting in front and getting to know them. There's so much to gain from each other than to worry about the color of skin. That's just my take.
All right, thank you so much, Irene. Let me pass it to you, Kalanite. Kalanite, what do you think? I know you brought up examples of certain things that was holding us back as a people, but are there things today that you still see that we still practice that originated in Christianity that we needed to kind of change or let go? What do you think, Kalanite?
Again, colorism's a big issue. I got a lot of crap from my family about it, my Tongan side. I still get a lot of crap from my grandma about being too tan. I think it is an issue in the South Pacific. My wife is half black, and so our baby's darker than me, and my Tongan side kind of treats her different because of that. Another big issue I would have to say that might not have came with Christianity, but just came with colonialism, again, was the whole mindset of land tenure. Maybe not so much in Tonga and stuff, but in Hawaii, you see a lot of people have foregone caring for the land. And we've seen it be incredibly detrimental to our place as it's been overrun. They leave rubbish everywhere. Even local people just throw their garbage at the beach. I go Pokai Bay right by my house, and it's just full of garbage from our own people. And that's just devastating. We forgot that in our cosmology, Papahanomoku, or the earth, is our ancestor. And we have to care for her. We have to malama her. And that's something that we have started forgetting due to Christianity, due to colonialism. I think that mindset of caring for the earth first is something that we've foregone for caring for God first, or Christianity first, here in Hawaii at least. The other thing I'd like to mention that kind of came from all of this is, again, the belittlement of our own people. A lot of people, I grew up thinking we were dumb because, like I said, I grew up in diaspora. I never had a brown teacher until I was in college. And so I just thought Polynesians were dumb people because all my friends were dumb. And I was dumb. It wasn't until college that I realized, like, man, I wasn't dumb. My teachers just didn't know how to teach me. I thrived in academia once I got up to higher education. And I learned later on, as I'm like almost half Tongan, that the highest per capita race of people in the entire world of PhDs are Tongans. We are not dumb people. We are smart as hell. And that epiphany was like, holy crap, now I got to get a PhD. So that's the next on track. But, it's those mindsets. People always forget, and we get belittled all the time. And I'll leave it with this. The Mormons say we came from through the Haggath, and we were too dumb to navigate. Well, same thing happened again later in academia in 1940s when Thor Harder sold the Kon-Tiki from South America over, saying we're too dumb to navigate again. And a lot of our people drank the Kool-Aid and believed it. And they said, oh, we couldn't do it. Look, Thor Harder did it with the Kon-Tiki. He sold it to the Tuamotus. There you go. That's how we made it to the South Pacific. It wasn't until the 70s that we were able to re-identify in Hawaii that, no, we were smart people. We navigated when we did the Hokulea in 76. And it's those mindsets that we've internalized year after year after year to belittle ourselves, to think we are incompetent because so many other people told us we were. But we need to come to a reality that Pacific Islanders are smart as hell. We are dominating academia per capita, and we are making massive moves in academia. There's so many credible sources out there that you could find on incredible topics with our people. And we need to teach our kids that we need to be that generation, because last thing I'll say is this. People have written about us and they belittle us. It's time for us to be the ones writing about us so that we do it right. Anybody can tell the story of Maui, but only a Pacific Islander is going to tell you a story of Maui that sounds believable. Why? Because he was our ancestor. I'm going to tell it like he was the smartest navigator and the first navigator. And that's why he pulled up the islands. As he sailed closer, they rose. But if somebody else is going to tell it like Thor Heyerdahl, they're going to say, oh, he just drifted and there it came out of the water. Something like that. So we need to be the storytellers. We need to be the academics. We need to be the ones that are at the forefront for our people. And I think we're in the motions of doing it. So I'm really excited about that. And, colonialism and Christianity have belittled us to think we can't do that. So mahalo, guys. Again, I probably got to jump off soon because I got my ohana home. But I really appreciate you guys being here for this talanoa. It's been an awesome opportunity. So random that I just get tagged on a TikTok. But I appreciate you guys having this space.
No, Carlita, thank you so much, man. You're dropping some bars on that speech. So thank you so much, Carlita. Let me pass it to you, Palofesa. Palofesa, what are your thoughts? Do you see things that we kind of practice there, or certain ideologies or mentalities that you think that is still holding us back as a people that maybe potentially originated from Christianity? What do you think?
I don't think it's maybe. I think it's if we dissect the way that and I'll go back to Tonga. If we dissect the way that Tongans practice religion or belief, we bear fealty to whatever deity that we most align with, whether that was Tangaloa, the Maui, or Higureo. So you fought mana to mana based on who you believed your deity to be. So it wasn't so much of a, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to go to one place, or if I don't do this, I'm going to go to one place. It was whoever I bear my mana to and swear my fealty to, that's where I'm going to tau'i whoever it is, right? So we explored based on their understanding. So it was more of a, I wouldn't say holistic, but it was a circular way of a belief system that our people had. Now, why is that very important? It's important because we looked at everything and studied everything in the sense of we wanted to incorporate any new knowledge into the way of living. If you look at Tonga, the only original art of the whaiva for us is the lakalaka, and there's one else. And my grandfather's rolling in the grave is one of the great punake of Tonga. Right now that I'm forgetting the other haka that he's taught me. But the reason why he told me that story is that the Tongans had a way of borrowing art all over the place, the tau oronga. A lot of other different, tawhaniua was a way of warfare. So if we look at the way Christianity practice faith, you either go to one place or the other, either go to heaven or go to hell, sort of thing. So what does that do in terms of practice, and how does that, I guess, form a limitation in people? We no longer seek what our ancestors did, which was to be navigators, to always look forward to the horizons and point your fingers, not to blame, but to look, there's opportunity there, let me find out. And I guess we can talk about all sorts of different things. Look, even me, who was born and raised in Tonga, came here to Aotearoa and was managed to pull off some miracle of a career out here. Most of my people don't even know I'm Tongan until I speak Tongan to them. I hear them in construction sites, whakaangai me and say, oh, ki tama Māori anei or ki tama India, until I say, hey, maloreri kau tama. Whao me Tonga. How mu meo whai? Until then, the big wide-eyed face of surprise is, holy shit, this dude is Tongan. So I understand it, but I think it's deeply rooted in me, and I think this is probably, and this is another assumption of mine, hereditary, is that it is within us to explore the moana, and regardless of however we qualify the moana to be. It used to be the ocean for our ancestors. Now it's many different systems and institutions and capitalism, socialism, whatever that may look like to us. However, I guess when Christianity is introduced to a vast mass of people who looked out into all different types of society in terms of adventure, I can see where our foot has been stuck to the ground and been cemented into our own little islands, that even people who claim against Christianity cannot move past beyond the, maybe I could take some good from this and maybe leave the bad, but maybe I can go back and look at my history and go, I can merge the two in whatever way that I see fit and ensure that I can carry some form of meaningful journey forward with whatever it is that I want to do, whether that's be an individual journey or whether with your community. I think that's, and this is why I have a big sort of, I'm somewhat of the, what people will call me hawhekastonga or whipalangi too, in the sense of my admiration for our ancestors weren't that they were stuck to the ground in the little islands that they were in. They got on the boat any chance they get and they explored, whether that was through worship or whether that was through the practice of the inasi or whatever. They looked to seek knowledge, and unfortunately the only way or the only fault of our ancestors were their preservation of knowledge wasn't as robust as the Europeans. We were orators, and as much as orators are, unfortunately the written texts of the Europeans became a lot more rigid and more robust in terms of preservation. So we can blame Christianity, and I would put somewhat of a look into it. But I guess, yeah, my admiration for our ancestors were that we weren't stuck in one linear mindset. We looked to learn, and we took knowledge and we took good out of everything. And when it wasn't so much of good or bad, it was who we serve fealty to, whether that be Bulotu, Maui, Tangaroa, whoever.
All right, no worries, Palofesa. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Let me pass it to you, Joe J Prime. Hey, J Prime, anything you want to add on to that? Anything that you see that potentially you thought that probably originated from Christianity, maybe it's holding us kind of back a little bit. Anything you want to add on? Go ahead.
So, for those that don't know that, I grew up on North Shore on the island of Oahu. And I grew up Canucks. So, one thing that really struck me when I moved here to the mainland was, one, I was darker than most Polynesians. I don't know if you guys know, but Hawaiians are actually very, very dark. Really, really, really dark like Fijians. And then another thing was the fear of God. I never understood that because I was raised Kanaka Maoli. We have this system put in place that we are, it's the transfer of energy, for lack of better words, ho'oponopono, and Kala brought this up, the apua'a. It wasn't just a system that taught us how to utilize the surroundings around ourselves. It was what Palofesa said, a circular way of thinking. We take upon the land and we carve into the land the waterways that will provide for our people, and then lead to the ponds of fruition for us to fish for the people. Everything was set up in the Apua'a system to provide for everybody, not just one person. And so moving here to the mainland, it was really different for me because the teachings of Ho'oponopono, it was sought at as a teaching of there is no such fear for the divine nature, for the divine cause, whatever you guys want to call it, for gods thereof, there was no such thing as this fear. It was, they were there because they were there previous from us becoming. Right. And so my understanding from what Christianity has taught me versus what Kanaka Maoli has taught me was two worlds clashing with each other. On top of that, I was very well acquainted with intelligence at a young age. I super exceeded what most kids my age were capable of even comprehending. So, I was looked at as, oh, you're really haole, you're hapa haole, you're, one of those kids that was just outcasted. And the crazy part is that our Princess Pauahi was the very person who established the Kamehameha schools so that way we could further our education to reteach the people of our nation. And so it's like I get a lot of backlash. It's not the first time I've gotten backlash on this podcast from previous clips that have been put out there. And a lot of people think that I hate on the Kanaka. It's just that my Kanaka is totally different than what most Kanakas go through today. Because my Kanaka, I was still raised in the sticks. There was no electricity where I was from. There was none of this bullshit of, traffic lights, TVs, music. None of that existed where I was from. So it's crazy because all of those villages still existed when I was little, but nobody was there. And I'm not hating on the Kanakas that go and protest. What I'm hating on are the people that pretend to be Kanakas and are just social media activists. And with that in mind, most of these people are of Christian faith. And the problem that I faced today was either I'm hated by the Christian faith of most of my people that are indulged with, or I'm too dark to hang out with a lot of the polys, or I'm too haole for a lot of the Hawaiian kids. And then it's like, it's crazy because my olelo is more like kids from Lanai, and so it convolutes the whole entire distinguish between trying to communicate on an olelo basis between Kanaka Maoli kids from Waianae, Kanaka Maoli kids from North Shore, Kanaka Maoli kids from from Molokai, and also from Lanai. There's a whole bunch of different dialects out there that is totally different. And Christianity has really, really created a separation between all of these, especially within my family. in my family, it's crazy because I come from the Lua warrior line. My family bloodline was servitude to the kings and queens, to the monarchy that existed previous to the overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom. And so for people to tell me like, oh, you're a mainlander now, you're too haole, you're indoctrinated, and it's like, literally all of the teachings that I grew up with was directly from the royal family. And so with that in mind, I did exactly what our princess wanted, Princess Pauahi. She sought for education, and she knew that if we didn't proclaim towards education, our people would not have the chance that she wanted us to have. It was a chance, it was a shot in the dark, it was a gamble for her. And with my lineage, being disbanded, because the Lua warriors, if you guys actually look them up, the original Lua warriors were sought as kapu, which is forbidden in English. And it was a way and style of martial art that the Hawaiians had created only meant for the king's use. And they were disbanded because when the Christianity faith came in, the Christians had taught us that there is no reason for this ravage, because the Lua warriors, they wouldn't just ravage a village. They would rape all the women and children and slit the eyelids of men and force them to watch, because Kamehameha the Great wanted them to see what was going on. Either you're with me or you're against me, one or the other. And so when the Christianity faith came into play, that's when everything, kind of fell apart as far as, the royal family's influence. The way that they were influenced with Christianity, the Lua family was kind of bombarded. They were looked at as savages existing in the civilized world. Another thing is that we keep
Hey,
on
Joe,
talking about. Go ahead.
Joe, just for the sake of time, I gotta.
Oh yeah. No. Go ahead.
Very good. No worries. Thank you, Joe, for sharing.
Yeah, sorry, I was ranting.
All right, let's keep it moving. Thank you so much, Joe. And I appreciate everybody on the live chat, and I pass it to you, Ulise, and then we'll open up for open discussion. And then we can kind of agree to disagree, and then we'll have one more topic to discuss tonight before we close by 11 o'clock. Go ahead, Ulise. What are your thoughts? Anything you see today that you kind of that's holding us back, Ulise? That kind of originated from Christianity. What do you think, Ulise? Go ahead.
Yeah, Malo. Thank you, Joe. Very good. I tend to rant on as well. I know we're going on time, but so that's why I was taking notes on the side so I don't get too off base. But real fast, Will, what you talked about, I think we have to take a look, depending on where in the diaspora, right? This idea of Fia Palangi. Again, Kalanite brought it up, Palofesa brought it up, too. But in Tonga, this idea of Fia Palangi doesn't really have, at least from my experience being in Tonga. I'm actually leaving tomorrow, so good thing we're doing this today. Going to Tonga tomorrow. This idea of Fia Palangi in Tonga has more to do with your actions, your characteristics, rather than schooling, success in business. Because as Kalanite said, there, I don't know if it still stands, but Tonga was, the highest percentage of PhDs in the Pacific for the longest time. And that's a huge thing. To be able to go to school and to be in business, to be in government, is not seen as Fia Palangi there in Tonga. So I think that's another podcast for another time. What is it about some of these other areas, maybe in California where you're at, or or in Utah? Oh, if we go to school, if we get good grades, that's Fia Palangi. Because that's very different from some of the peoples back home in Tonga, and I would even argue in New Zealand, where I have a lot of relatives at too. So I think the two things, and then for the big question that you had, two things I would take out from today, obviously colorism as well, but a big one that means a lot to me, especially because of my Hawaiian side, is the idea of race, and this idea of percentages, and how many times I've gone through that. I've told people, if you Hawaiian, you almost guaranteed know your percentage of Hawaiian, right? It's a stereotype. I'm 50% Hawaiian. I'm 50%
46%.
Exactly. I'm 12.7. See, 12.5% Hawaiian. And then 37% Ilocano. this idea of these blood quantums as coming from Christian missionaries, this idea of race is highly detrimental to our people. This idea that I have to have a dominant culture, a dominant blood. When I would introduce myself, and a very good mentor and teacher of mine, Siausi Sosaya Tofuay Pangay, had taught me that, when I'd introduce, I'm half Tongan, I'm part that, he said, no, stop saying half Tongan. Stop saying part this, part that. You are all of your ancestors. I'm not a part of my grandpa. I'm not a leg of my grandma. I am all of those things. We see this as so much of a tool of colonialism. Literally here in Hawaii, a part of the agreement to allow for the Hawaiian Homelands Act to go through was the white senators and congressmen told Prince Kuhio, if you want to give land back to Hawaiians, they got to be 50% Hawaiian. So you're telling me today, as a 12% Hawaiian, I'm not Hawaiian enough? Even though I speak Hawaiian, I taught at Hawaiian immersion schools, I live Hawaiian values and culture, I protest like a Hawaiian, but I'm not Hawaiian enough to have land in my own island home? That's a problem. Colonialism has always used these percentages, even with Native Americans. Oh, you're not Native enough to get money, right? Or the opposite, with the 1%, with the 1 drop rule for African Americans. 1 drop of blood from Africa back in the days, you're black. Doesn't matter how white you are, you're black. Therefore, you don't get the same amount of benefits. There's
a way around it. Just message me.
Yeah, right. It's very interesting. So you're telling, and so I think a lot of people listening, also deal with that. Rose, awesome. You're growing up with this idea, not being Samoan enough upon. That's bullshit. If you have, in Maori call it whakapapa, if you have genealogy, you're it. That's it. Don't let nobody tell you. Even if you can't speak Samoan, can't speak Tahitian, can't speak Niuean, you are it. And not a part of it. I think we got to get rid of that stuff. Second thing, and I'm going to finish off. Albert Went, very awesome. I love Samoan artist back from, I think from New Zealand. Palofesa, correct me if I'm wrong. Albert Went said, missionaries are the ones who brought pornography to the Pacific. That's a huge part of our idea we need to get rid of as well, is our bodies. Before they came, our bodies were important. Our bodies were not sexual items. It wasn't pornography to have the breasts out. That was for food for the babies and for the husbands too. Whatever, that's a different subject. Anyways, right? To be, your body was not this dirty thing. And that, I think, we definitely have to kick out of our mindsets. Even talking about the quote unquote birds and the bees, we have to use birds and bees. We can't just say sex. To talk about that, especially in our Tongan community, is taboo. What happens to us, especially those like me that did grow up in the diaspora, because I didn't get that education of what sex is at home, what is a penis, a vagina, the reproductive system. Where did I learn it? I learned it on the bus at elementary school from a Playboy my cousin brought. Therefore, forever tweaking my understanding and relationship with sexuality and sexual reproduction. If we don't teach it in the homes, we're going to go learn it outside. And a lot of that stems from this Christian idea, right? Oh, it's dirty. Don't say that. Don't talk about that. No, don't. We have to embrace the sexualities, our sexuality, and what bodies. Stop making up nicknames, for body parts. That's my big spiel. I think I would say those two things is definitely that, right? This idea of race and percentages, but also our sexualities, right? Our bodies are beautiful. They are not meant to hide. Oh my gosh, you don't know how pissed off I get when I see Tongans doing a Tongan number and they got the wife beaters on. Oh my gosh, because why? Because they don't want to show their bodies. They don't want to whatever, right? The body was never meant to be, we created it to be pornographic. There's nothing pornographic about it. Malo.
All right, no worries. Lisa, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. All right, and I'm not complaining about showing off on the body.
Just a quick add-on while Ulise was sharing. It came to me the word for race for us is Tongan is matakari, and it was defined to me as your mata, your face, and kari was our pillow. So it was the face of where you laid. But that's how we defined race, is that the face where you laid. So it wasn't so much of different bloodline. It was where you've laid your head down. That was where you were from. So it's quite interesting when we dissect I know Savage has shared his distaste for etymology, but I think when we do a little bit of, when we dissect a lot of our own words in terms of our culture and how we had spoken words, not only that, it was quite poetic. A lot of the ways that we define things was just extremely poetic, not just in words, but in sound and in the enactment of how we conversate. I mean, look at Tonga and Ha'amoa. Tonga has 3 different language, not including the Niuas, if you want to really dissect that. So we had a beautiful culture. Unfortunately, it's so lost in today's world that we try and reach so far in between, whether Christianity or the ancestors, that we don't know exactly where we land. And I guess this is where a lot of envy and a lot of whipalangi comes from. You know, in Tonga, when we called someone whipalangi, it was someone who left overseas for a couple of months and came home without being in lea he heu. That's what we called whipalangi. It wasn't so much the success, it was if you went to New Zealand or America for 2 months and you came back and you couldn't speak the language again, it was, you know, I've been so long, it was toko whipalangi. That was how we defined whipalangi.
All right, no worries. Palofesa, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Let's open up for open conversation real quick. And I just have one final topic I want to discuss. A lot of people are asking me this on my social media platforms, and we'll conclude the podcast with that. But I know, Savage, you wanted to add on real quick for the open discussion. Go ahead, Savage.
Yeah, well, 2 things. First is etymology only plagues the English language. It doesn't apply to every other language because, you know, etymology comes from the English language. So I just wanted to state that. You can't use etymology to correct foreign languages. It doesn't work. It's not compatible. This is where I plant the seeds in the minds of our viewers who are Christians. And if it provokes the thought, then I've done my job. Now, biologically, through science, we understand that a man has sperm and a woman has an egg. And through the act of intercourse, they can have a baby naturally, right? Now, in the story of the Virgin Mary, she's sitting in her home, Joseph's in the workshop, and an angel visits her, a messenger angel, stating that I was sent by God to endow you with the child of God. Now, all of a sudden, she becomes pregnant. Now, to me, not only is that far-fetched and mythological by all proportions, but you're telling me a spirit visited you, or an angel, and filled you with the spirit of the Holy Spirit. Oh, he did. All right. And while Joseph was in the workshop, you was getting filled all night long by Jason, the messenger angel. That's the only way that works. There's no such thing as a Virgin Mary, because to have a child needs to, lay with a man or lay with a woman. To function outside of the very laws of that is ungodly. That doesn't make sense, right? That's just thinking logically and critically here now. Now, that's one thought. Here's another one. Now, in, ancestral times, there was the practice of voodoo. And a lot of these voodoo priests in their cultural history believed that they could resurrect the dead. However, through the church, this is demonized because it is bad practice. We don't understand it. We don't know it. Therefore, it is evil. It is of evil practices. And natural and human nature, when we don't understand something, we demonize it because we have no context of it, nor do we want to seek it. If it threatens our very ideology or our comfortability, we don't want to know it. However, here comes the very same practice. This man by the name of Jesus resurrects Lazarus. Now, I bring up these 2 points. What's the difference? Don't bring up the methodology, because the outcome is still the same. Jesus resurrected Lazarus, and the voodoo priest resurrected a dead person. Very, very outrageous, right? Now, last but not least, what is the difference between me and Jesus? If Jesus makes the claim that he is the Son of God, and I make claims that I'm the son or a descendant of Ahoetu himself, the God King, What is the difference? The difference is Jesus has no descendants, apparently. There are books that state he had a relationship with Mary Magdalene. However, those books do not exist today as we know of, if not kept in the vaults of the Vatican. So the proof substantiated is no one knows for sure if Jesus had descendants. He's an ancestor to no one. However, I am a descendant to possibly a line of Ahoetu. So when I tell you I am a son of a God, I am telling you that because of the oratory passed down through generations to generations. This is just being very logical and critical, which is why when Tongans hear things like this, it is very tapu. You may be pukete volo, right? These are things that are very bad and out of the understanding of the cultural, because we believe culture to be in correlation with religion, which is absolutely ridiculous because if the religion is introduced to the culture, how is it of the culture? That makes no sense at all. Now, whether you want to go off of, the king had sent the missionaries into the waters and told them that if our gods let you live, then we will convert, whatever. The king didn't understand that seasonally, right, seasonal, that if they dropped them out in those waters and it wasn't summertime, then there won't be any sharks because there are no fishes in the water during the colder seasons. Now, what am I highlighting here? Thinking logically. I brought it up earlier that the one thing I'm grateful for is that when the foreigners came, was they brought research and studies. We can run the data and information based on other sources, not just the one source that is the foreigner. Now, of course, most people think the colonizers are white people. No, not all colonizers are white people. You need to get out of that mindset because the colonizer is not a skin color. If that's the case, then the Asians were colonizers, the Arabs were colonizers as much as the Europeans were. I only bring this dialogue to think. Now, if I've provoked thought in you, then I think I've done my job here. And other than that, thank you guys for having me. I will be leaving to Florida in a couple of minutes. I want to tell each and every one of you, I love you guys very much. I pray light and protection over all of you. And Will, as always, it's a peaceful time when I get to get on here and give these dialogue. And I love you, Toko. Thank you guys very much.
No worries, Savage. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing, Savage. Actually, it was actually something I wanted to bring up to conclude the podcast. And a lot of people have been asking me on a lot of the social media panels. But I want to bring up this question. This may be thought-provoking, like Savage said. This maybe should trigger a lot of people, especially the Christians. But like I said, we have to have the open conversation. I want to ask the panel real quick. Do you guys think, is Christianity, because there are a lot of people out there that have different beliefs. And one of the things a lot of people believe in is they think that Christianity is a hoax. It's a scam. So I want to open up the conversation. I know some of you guys are Christians on here, but some people out here, if you look at the studies and information and the history, there's a lot of people out there that believe that Christianity is not a real thing. But like I said, this is an open conversation. Regardless of what you believe in what you believe in. But at the end of the day, we got to discuss this. And there are, like I said, from both sides, there are things that's open for criticism that doesn't make sense for a lot of people. And there's a lot of data out there and analytics and research out there that kind of disprove otherwise. So I just want to have that conversation real quick. Is Christianity, is it a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it not a real thing? I want to open up the conversation and we'll conclude with that. You guys just heard from Savage. He brought up some great points. I would love for the Christians to also kind of respond to that. What are your thoughts on that? Have you ever expanded and thought about the very things that you guys believe in? But let me start with you. Let me start with you, Kalanite, to add on to what Savage said. Do you guys, like I said, we're just having a conversation, everybody out there. Let me know what you guys think on the live chat. But what's your thoughts, Kalanite? Is Christianity, is it a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it something that's man-made? Go ahead, Kalanite.
All right, mahalo. First of all, my apologies to my Wolfgram and Brown side of the family for what I'm about to say. Yes, a hoax, I don't know. What I will say is this. Judaism existed first, obviously, and Christianity birthed out of a couple other things, including the Persian Zoroastrianism. And the hybrid of those two ultimately, as far as I understand it, created what we call Christianity. So if I was going to believe in an Abrahamic religion, I would go to the source and be Jewish. I wouldn't follow the second sect of an Abrahamic religion, let alone the third. I would go to the foundation. But in a nutshell, what is my ultimate belief? I believe that organized religion in a nutshell is somewhat of a facade that just keeps order and keeps people complicit. But that is my own personal belief, and I know that that's going to upset a lot of Christians, and I don't mean that any harm for you. If that's what you are, take your faith and roll with it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, be a good person. That's really all that matters. If you're good and you have good intentions, then you're going to do right in the universe. It doesn't matter what faith you are. That's really all that matters to me. And so, my perspective on Christianity is that it's taken more than it's given to my people and to my place than for me personally. And obviously, that's going to vary between my family because my Wolfgram side, they're angry with me right now. But that's just my own belief. It's taken more than it's given to us, and the benefits haven't been enough. We pay tithing and pay tithing and pay tithing, and I don't see the blessings of those tithings yet. And until I see that, I'm not a believer. And I studied religion in college, and I really dove into the origins of it all. And so because of that, I have a very distinct belief of organized religion in general, and just religion in general for that matter, of all different types. So that's my 2 cents on it. But mahalo again for having me, guys. I definitely probably have to jump off soon. I really appreciate everybody here. It's so cool to be in a space with other oceanic people, and just converse like this and have a talanoa. So I'm truly humbled to be here with all of you. So mahalo.
I appreciate that, Kalanita. Thank you so much. All right. Let me pass it on to you, Rose. Rose, what are your thoughts on Christianity? Do you think it's a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it something non-existent, man-made? What are your thoughts on
that? Like Kalanita was saying, religion as a whole. I'm not just going to talk about Christianity, but just religion as a whole is just a whole bunch of brainwashing. They use the fear of sin, fear of God to control the masses. And if you don't know that by now, then that means you're still hypnotized. Because if you look at it, there's 2 billion Christians, 31%. It's the largest number, the biggest religion. Then Islam's the second, 24%. Yeah, Islam and Christian take up half of the world's population. That's a huge number. That's a lot of people that they control. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. Scam, of course, because they're all dishonest. That's what scams are. They're frauds. And religion is a whole bunch of bullshit. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Rose. Appreciate that. I think Catholicism was like the third. I think Islam, Christians, and Catholicism is like the third, I think.
Catholicism falls into Christianity, according to the graphs.
Got you. All right, no worries. All right. And everybody that's Christian on the live chat, let me know, what do you think? I know we're very critical right now with your religion. I would love to hear your perspective. Like I said, we're just having an open conversation. Believe in what you believe in, but at the end of the day, we're just here to have an opposing view. J Prime, let's pass it to you, J Prime. Joe, what are your thoughts, man? Do you think, what are your thoughts on Christianity? Is it a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it non-existent? Is it man-made? What's your thoughts on that, Joe?
I think a lot of people will come up with their own moral compass or, something to look forward to towards the afterlife of whatever preachings or teachings that you have been bestowed upon as a younger child. For me, Christianity, religion in general doesn't fit for the way that I operate. So I have nothing against religion. I do think that it's a basis of what people need in life, for lack of better words. But other than that, I like what the panel has to say tonight. I'll let other people decide on what they think about religion. My thoughts on religion is that it's just, I don't know, because I was raised Kanakamali, and a lot of people think that it's a religion. It's not a religion. It's a way of living. And so with that being said, I'll go about my way of living, and other people can, slide into the slot of fortitude for religion, whatever religious sake they have.
Joe, that sounded like a political answer. But anyways, I'm gonna pass.
That's exactly what it was.
Come on, Joe. It's all good. It's all good. No worries, Joe. Let me pass it to Palofesa. And I'll definitely come back and finish up with our Christians. I would love to hear you respond to what everybody said, having the conversation. Palofesa, what are your thoughts, Palofesa? What's your thoughts on religion? Is Christianity? Is it a hoax? Is it a scam? It's a non-existent man-made? What's your thoughts, Palofesa?
I think if I had to deep dive, I don't think I'm qualified enough to determine or qualify it whether it's a hoax or not. What I do have a saying is that my distaste is not in religion in itself. I believe a vast majority of people subscribe to some form of religion in one way or another, and my understanding of religion is seeking of one's higher self through some form of practice or worship, regardless of whatever you look at. People will worship nature, people will worship a culture, whatever that may be. Maybe Jesus Christ, maybe Tangaroa, Maui, whatever. I classify all of those belief systems as some form of religion. My distaste is typically in the interpretation of the human being. That's where my distaste is. Now, I look at Christianity the way that I look at Islam, Judaism, even our indigenous belief, that it is just a wealth of knowledge for me. And if I can extract what is good and it's beneficial for me in my life, I will live my life accordingly. This is why I don't pick, Christianity is the right and true, the only true religion, Islam is blah, blah, indigenous belief. I draw whatever is good out of whatever it is that is presented in front of me, and then I live my life accordingly. Now, if I get to the end of my life and I'm 6 feet under and Tangaroa stands in front of me and go, you're going to Bulotu because you didn't believe in me, or Jesus Christ said you're going to hell, or Muhammad stands in front of me, then so be it, right? I am, and this is more or less my paying homage to mana and my understanding of mana with our people, is that I will challenge whatever the mana is in the space or in the human being, and I live my life accordingly. Now, I think to harbor distaste for things that I don't necessarily qualify to have a robust understanding of, I think that's out of my league. I live my life accordingly. If I'm a good person and I provide service for myself, my family, and the community around me, so be it. So regardless of whether it is a hoax or not, I can extract good message out of the Bible. There are some good messages in there just as much as a lot of other religion, just as much as a lot of my indigenous ancestry background. I extract the good, and the bad I go, can I understand it from a different angle, or is this just linear as it is? That's how I see it.
All right, no worries, Palofesa. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate you guys. And I see you guys in the live chat popping up and responding. Yeah, let me know what you guys think on the live chat. I see Savior King on the live chat coming on all of a sudden since we're talking about religion. So thank you so much for all you guys. So let me pass it to the Christians on the panel, and then we will do a quick open discussion and we'll conclude. Ulise, you got a chance to hear from everybody. I know of them being very critical of your Christian faith. What are your thoughts on that? And anything you want to respond or rebuttal a lot of the things that were said tonight against Christians? Go ahead, Ulise.
Well, yeah. First thing, I wouldn't say I'm going to do a rebuttal or say that anything was said against Christians. It was against actions and things, history, things that happened. Dumb people did dumb stuff in the name of religion, and dumb people do dumb stuff in the name of all religions, practically, right? You can make that argument for anything. And I don't want to sound like I'm copying, but same thing. I just want to piggyback off what Palofesa said. We take what we can. It's a very, as much as religion is a social construct, we create it. It's not inherent in our lives as human beings. We're born and there's religion. No, it's something we created. And so therefore you can interpret it how you want. You can live it how you want. Being Hawaiian is also interesting to me because as I was raised a Christian, I wasn't always raised in the LDS Church, just to let you folks know, right? But I was raised to worship the Christian God. However, as Kanaka, and I know Joe's gonna understand, and Kalanite too, I recognize there is still in my home, from my own grandma, who is a staunch Episcopalian, Pele is always a real part of our lives. She's real. Poliahu, Kamapua'a, Kanaloa, Kane, Ku. These quote-unquote gods were still real. And that's the thing, though, is when we're talking about Christianity, even that to label it as Christian, and the understanding of what is God, that's a whole nother podcast as well. What does Otua mean? What does Akua mean? Because if you look at a lot of our Hawaiian teachers, like Dr. Pualani Kanahele, the idea of the word Akua as translated to the word God is a mistake. It does not fit into Hawaiian traditional understandings of what Akua is. It has a lot to do with nature, has a lot to do with the ecology and ancestors, right? Real belief that these people were real people. So that's where I stand on that, but what I want to finish with is this: is that why am I still a Christian? Because I'm trying not to be a hypocrite as well. Meaning, the things that I have seen, that I have witnessed from my own eyes, my own ears, heard it with my own ears, felt in my own heart, I cannot deny it. But that's for anything. That doesn't mean then automatically all of my other experiences with the ancient systems doesn't negate that either. All the same, the testimony that I have of who I worship as a god in Christianity does not automatically mean my beliefs in traditional indigenous, ancestors and ecological, lifestyles doesn't mean they go against each other at all. It's definitely a part of how we define Christianity. What does that mean? Because for a lot of it, a lot of those horrible things that people were doing with Christianity back in the days, they were not Christian at all. That was not Christian. I don't know about your Jesus Christ, but my Jesus Christ said not to kill people. So I don't know about that, So that's how I see it. Sorry, really long 2 cents. That was more like 50 cents. Malo.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Ulise, and we'll pass it to you, Irene. Irene, what's your thoughts about what's your response to what everybody said? Is Christianity being a hoax, non-existent, man-made? What do you think?
For me, it's an individual relationship with our Creator. So humans are imperfect, and I'm not going to put everyone just because we carry the title of Christian or whatever beliefs we are. We're not perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. I also do not discount my ancestral roots, but I'm very aware of not melding nature and my beliefs, my Christian beliefs. So I'm very aware of that. So there's two separate distinctions with that. I follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. So I don't put anything before that. Even though this is my roots, I don't put anything before my beliefs in Jesus Christ. And so I'm very cautious about the beliefs in nature and the melding of that, which is a Rosicrucian mysticism, melding of spiritual and nature. So I have to make a clear distinction between Rosicrucian ideology and spirituality. I mean, everyone has a different definition of what spirituality is, but again, I am a firm believer in Jesus Christ, and I've become inactive. I was a practicing Mormon. I spent some time with my grandmother too, growing up as a Methodist. She's a staunch Methodist. And so I respected that. I've had other family members that have other beliefs, but again, we take the good things, we respect each other's choices, and we still love them. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a follower of Jesus Christ and a Christian if I did not practice what I believed in. And of course, I'm going to be making mistakes along the way. And that's the whole process, right? We learn from our mistakes. We keep moving. Everybody makes it sound like just because we make mistakes that you're bad, but that's the whole experience that we're going through. We're learning, we're growing, we're getting understanding, wisdom, whatever it is. It's all about just loving one another, really, at the end of the day, and respecting each other.
Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Irene. Appreciate that. And then Savage, did you want to I know you just jumped up back on. Anything you want to add on real quick? And then anybody want to add on, and we'll conclude the podcast with that. Go ahead, Savage.
Yeah, definitely. Just real quick, I appreciated everyone's dialogue. My flight is delayed, so I jumped back on immediately. But I wanted to say this: there's a clear difference between religion versus spirituality. And I believe it to be religion's curriculum, where spirituality is an experience. And why I illustrate that is that I don't know of any part of history where spirituality ever provoked war, because we never needed spirituality to validate our times of war as indigenous people all over the world. We just did it. There was no context of morality. It was just, hey, kill or be killed, right? That was just the way it was. And most people were like, oh, that was too harsh. That's why we had to be saved. Okay, understandable. But there is a part of that history that is missing. Now, being a religious person, I have no problem with. However, I honestly and deeply in my heart of hearts, no offense to anyone, because I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm just trying to provoke the thought. Religion at its core is evil. It promotes segregation, elimination, if not deception of all kinds. Because most people, when the blinders go up like a horse, you only see one way, and you don't want to accept that there might be some holes to this logic. Now, that's okay. If your fear is that after death, you might not go anywhere, then by all means, subscribe to religion. I will tell you this. Religion and science share one thing in common. They both miss out on life, because science focuses on what happens before life. Religion focuses on what happens after. Two of those concepts miss what's happening now, and people say, I'm alive, but not everyone is living life. So with that being said, whether you do your research and studies today, know this. Whether you believe in this or you believe in that, are you being a very good human being today? And I think that's what religion has taken away from us.
All right. No worries, Savage. Thank you so much. I appreciate it for sharing that. Anybody want to add? I want to respond, add on real quick, and then we'll conclude with that. Anybody want to add on? Or you guys are good? All right. All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Savage, and thank you so much for everybody on the live chat. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of the podcast. Let me shout out to you guys for participating on the live chat, for watching this entire stream. Shout out to you guys, and thank you to the public guests for jumping on. Palofesa and Kalanite. Let me read some comments real quick. And of course, we'll conclude the podcast to get everybody's final thoughts real quick. I see Jay Hill, always in the live chat. He said, Jay Hill said on the live chat, facts, we demonize what we don't understand. No worries. I see TJ in the live chat. I think he was responding to Savage. I think TJ said, please leave Joseph alone. All right, no worries. All right. I see Savior. I see Savior King here for the first time. Thank you so much, Savior King. I've never seen you here before. Don't forget to like and subscribe. He said on the live chat, said the Christian faith made hospitals, university, and the reason are even able to read is because of the Christian faith. People speak on things they know nothing about. All right, no worries, Savior King. All right. Savior King, you're always open to join in and be part of the conversation. If you don't know anything, then maybe you know everything, Savior King. So maybe you should come on and teach us the ways, and teach us your knowledge. All right. Beati Barabas, always in the live chat, said Christians didn't give what they earned; they gave what they stole. What did they steal? Your faith. You believe in a God that you fear. Fear controls you. Therefore, God controls you. Man, you guys are coming here with the heat tonight. Whether you agree or disagree, no worries. I see Z007 sent on the live chat. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. All right, I believe that. I believe that as well. Thank you so much. And of course, I see on the live chat, Infinite Lives said, Infinite Lives said on the live chat, take a Nazarene vow, slap my back with hooked whips, and let the deers eat my crops. All right, I don't know. Is that a Bible verse? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I never noticed that. Thank you so much, Infinite Lives. And a Z007 sent on the live chat response to you, Savage. Hey, Savage, I think the first team lady canceled your flight. All right, no worries. Nevertheless, thank you so much, everybody on the live chat. I appreciate you guys being part of the live stream. Whether you agree or disagree, we have come to the end. We're going to conclude the podcast with that. And shout out to the panel tonight for having a conversation tonight. And of course, attacking this topic and having an open conversation. I just posted the Discord link on the YouTube live chat to let everybody know we have a Discord group chat for the Gobble Gobble podcast. We continue these conversations offline. So if you guys want to be part of that group chat, if you guys want to have direct conversation with us on the panel one-on-one, and or talk to us individually, you want to communicate with us or reach out to us, the best way to do that is reach out, join our Gobble Gobble podcast Discord group chat. I already posted it on the YouTube live chat. So if you're not part of it, you love the podcast, you support the podcast, click on that link and join us and be part of the Gobble Gobble podcast community. All right, but nevertheless, let's get everybody's final thoughts and we'll conclude. Let me start with the ladies real quick. Rose, final thoughts, and how can people find you, Rose?
Wow, this was a very in-depth discussion. Listening to you guys all talk about history, a lot of it I was honestly lost because I don't understand a lot of Tongan history. I understand Samoan history, and then Hawaiian history. I'm not too fluent in that either. But it was, I feel like it just needs to be broken down. It's hard for people on the outside to understand what you guys are talking about. So I feel like a lot of people listening in, unless you're Tongan, you're not really going to understand. So I think it would be nice if next time we could actually break it down and actually, I guess, explain it so that people on the outside can understand what you're saying. That would be very helpful. But other than that, it was a great group. You guys are so knowledgeable. And as far as this whole topic goes, honestly, like Irene was saying, just love and respect. That's all we need. We don't need religion. We just need love, respect. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's really what it comes down to. So yeah, thank you. You can find me on Instagram at Hungry Samoans. I appreciate Will for having me, and I appreciate all you guys for being here. And yeah, namaste.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Rose. Always a pleasure to have you on. Let me pass it to you, Irene. Irene, what's your final thoughts, and how can people find you, Irene?
I just want to thank everyone. I learned a lot from everyone's take today. I appreciate a lot. And I get it, Rose. I wish we did have someone from Samoan panel, so you know, to bring a little bit of that insight, just a variety. But you know, again, we're all interconnected, and that's what I really, really value and appreciate. That we have so much more in common than we do have differences. But yeah, that's all I can say. Just thank you. You can find me on social media. You can find me. You don't have to find me. It really don't matter. But that's it.
All right, no worries. You can definitely find Irene on the Discord. She's pretty active in there. All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Irene. Let me pass it to the fellas. Final thoughts. I'll start with you, Ulise. Thank you so much for being on here for the first time. Ulise, final thoughts, and how can people find you, Ulise?
Yes, no, thank you. Mahalo nui, Will, and to everybody on the panel. Very, very awesome to be able to connect and talanoa and veitatala with all of you. Just glad and honored again to have been a part of this conversation. And my same sentiments as what Rose and Irene talked about. Just be good people. Love and respect everybody. Do what you have to do, right? I'm not a big social media guy. I'm on there, but you know, I'm not nobody. As we say in Hawaii, I'm only small kind. So just look me up, Ulise Funaki. Love to talk story with anybody else that'd like to talk story. Malo, we'll see you all later.
No worries, Ulise. It was very great. Ulise dropped a lot of knowledge tonight. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'll pass it to you, J Prime. J Prime, final thoughts, and how can people find you, J Prime?
Not much on the final thoughts. You guys can find me anywhere on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really have content right now. If you guys really want to get a hold of me, click on the Discord link. We got a lot of materials coming out here soon. So hope you guys enjoy. And once again, thank you, Will, for the opportunity to be on the panel once again. That's it.
No worries. J Prime, appreciate it. I'll pass it to you, Kalanite. Thank you for jumping on as a public guest. What's your final thoughts, and how can people find you, Kalanite?
Final thoughts. This is an awesome opportunity to have an engaging conversation with other like-minded oceanic people. Moana, you know, aloha ke, what is it? Aloha ke kahi, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you give love, you get love. You give respect, you get respect. So, my olelo in my head, it's always perfect. When it comes out my mouth, it gets bumbled up. My daughter.
It's okay. That's how it is for everyone.
Right. My daughter goes immersion school, and she's only 4, and she already looks at me like I'm an idiot. But you can find me on IG, just Kiliona, Kiliona, Kiliona Palauni. You can find me on TikTok making ridiculous videos. At Kili Kanaka is my, I believe my TikTok handle. Those are pretty much my only platforms. But again, I really appreciate you guys allowing me to be here today. And sorry I invoked such a interesting conversation through TikTok. Mahalo, guys.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much. Keep it up, man. Keep making that content. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Palofesa, thank you for jumping on as public guest. Final thoughts and how can people find you?
Yeah, look, it's certainly an interesting conversation and one that I thoroughly enjoy when we speak about our history, and whether that be Christianity and oppression or colonization. I think a vast majority know that I subscribe to the opposite side in terms of indigenous holding. But the one thing that the common thread for me is this ideology that we call mana in the Pacific. Now, I understand mana it was the most traded currency that the people of the Moana participated in. It was mana, and then it was the featherwork. The Palatavake had a small little red feather that was our currency. Now, I want to correct Savage. The reason why the flag is red is not to represent the blood of Christ. It was to pay homage to the Palatavake and the featherwork of the people of the Moana. This can be found from Tonga all the way to Hawaii. It was a small bird with a small feather, and it was a red blood feather. And it was believed to be our traded currency within the Moana. Okay, now it's quite an interesting discussions that we had tonight, and it shows the richness and the complexity of our culture. And when we have a discussion about Christianity and its influence, I think it's a much deeper subject than we can even comprehend in one podcast. And I tautoko Savage for asking for a second round. One of the greatest things that Ulise participated in was a podcast called the Tokiuka Mea. Now, the podcast itself is a wealth of knowledge. However, the lovely people who've managed to put together this body of work has also put together a documentation from not only our people, our historians, but also from foreigners. They have provided a link in their Instagram. I've now posted it in the Discord. It is a wealth of knowledge. Read it, digest it, extract whatever value that you can. It'll bring you a lot closer to your history rather than watching it and hearing it on TikTok. And again, it is always a pleasure to share a platform where we're able to have discourse in a manner where we can walk away agreeing to disagree or to tautoko each other's message. And it's always a pleasure. What do you say? It's good to finally put a face to the name and see you in person or virtually, I would say. Irene, Kalanite, Rose and Joe, always appreciate your time, and especially Kalanite for your first time here. And Will, always a pleasure, always a privilege to be part of this platform. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share some of my talanoa loi.
All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Palofesa. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, everybody on the live chat, thank you so much. Shout out to you guys on the live chat. Thank you so much for participating and being watching the entire podcast. Some of you guys have watched the entire podcast. I see you on the live chat. Thank you so much. And don't forget, I just posted the Discord link. So if you want to be part of the conversation, you want to communicate, connect with us, and talk with us individually or as a group, join the Gov Podcast Discord group. We continue these conversations every single day offline. And of course, we get updates of all the new things that we introduce on this podcast and future projects that we're working on. So if you support the podcast and love the content, join the Discord group. I just posted a link in the YouTube live chat, and we'd love to see you there and connect with you guys there. We have come to the end. Thank you so much. Shout out to the panel. Thank you for the open conversations and being open to have this very difficult conversation. A lot of things that we talked about today is very taboo within our community. So but it's very necessary in order for us to move forward in our lives and the next generation. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notification when we do go live next time. I do agree. I definitely think we should do a round 2. There's a lot of things that we need to definitely dive deeper and break down. I'll definitely reach out to the panel and plan that out. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Everybody have a good night, good day, wherever you go, wherever you are in this part of the world. And see you guys next time. Peace, y'all. Peace. You guys have a good night. All right.